And welcome back to another exciting week of the Office Dynasty League podcast. I'm here with my co host, Mac White, as always.
What's up?
And today we have our very special guest, your, my, and our friend, the only undefeated team in the league at the moment, Mr. Matt Jordan.
Yes, thanks first of all, thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem.
I'm delighted to be on. Second of all, I was really glad I pulled out the victory over Tyler because I wanted to be undefeated when I came on the pod.
Sure.
So,
That's why you decided to go on this week and not next week, correct?
yes, I was a little worried next week. I'm 1-7 history is bad history.
Yeah.
So, you never know.
Yeah. Also, you picked the week where Lamar takes a seat to swing on.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Tragedy over there in Sprinkle Land. It's almost like
Yeah,
someone stuffed your cat in a freezer.
he's been a very critical part, and we hopefully he's just down because they were getting beat real bad and not because he's actually injured.
Sure, sure.
Matt,
Well,
remind me who your backup quarterback is. What happens
Dra-
if
Drake May.
Okay, all
I'm
ooh,
right.
okay with
So
that. I'm okay. I'm
that's
okay with it. Yeah.
there could be
okay.
worse backups.
So
Well, that's why you went for the stack. That's why you went out and got Stephon Diggs. You knew this was coming.
yeah. Plug both of those in there and feel
You,
good. Feel good
you
about it.
gotta you gotta get the double up going.
Yeah.
Uh, Matt, just going down your roster. Obviously, when we've had multiple guests on here, you've been referred to repeatedly as one of the two teams that people feel like are at the top. It's you and my co-host Mac White. People feel like you guys have the two best teams. Pretty much year in and year out. I mean, this is the second year that it's been going on. But looking down the roster at your team, I see a little bit of room for concern.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you, John. So here, I'm so glad you brought this up, and I'm sorry to cut
okay.
you off, but I wanted this to be talked about, and you make me feel validated, and I'm here for it. I have been saying all off season into the start of the season that I feel like I'm one piece away, and I've been getting made fun of for saying that.
Mm,
But I have some concern, especially as the season has continued. Evans and McLaurin have been disappointing, and now they're hurt. Bowers has underperformed to what I thought he was going to. Corum's snap count gets higher and higher all the time. So I'm worried about Kyron a little bit. And then
mm,
Jacoby Myers and Khalil Shakur and some of my other pieces are inconsistent. And then there's some like it doesn't get better than Puka right now. And
no,
CMC has been great, but both of those players have injury concerns, injury history. So I just feel like I'm like one more like locked in wide receiver two or higher away from feeling just like really, really confident in my roster.
sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, you brought up a lot of the points that I was going to. But with the Lamar injury, you're starting to get into bye weeks and all that. It's going to be tough for you with all these injuries and some aging or depreciating assets in one way or another to really maintain that top of the league status. Mac, what do you think?
Matt, I'm sure you were expecting a response from me because as you've complained about being one piece away this entire season, I have been one of the biggest critics of that sentiment. So I
Yes.
had something to say. Now you've indicated your concerns, and they're legitimate. I understand them. I see where you're coming from. But John, Matt, either of you guys, Matt or John, have you guys ever had a job where you're absolutely killing it? Like you are, like boss loves you. You're talking about getting promoted. Like you're just doing an awesome job, and you get an employee, performance review, and they have to, in order to do their job as a boss, they have to give you some little little critiques or little knocks for things you're doing, but they really don't have any, but they have to, because if they don't, then what are they doing? That's your team, Matt. Like I mean, it's it's fantasy football, and if things are going to go wrong, and if you don't assume things are going to go wrong, then you probably haven't played fantasy football very much. But that's how I feel. I feel like it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, you can poke holes, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah, but they
Mm,
do that because you can always get better, and that's how I feel. I feel like you can always get better. Your team can always get
sure.
better.
Sure. Sure. There just seems to be a little desperation in your tone and your voice that it just it's odd to me.
I
That's
just
all.
so it's not so much desperation in like I really feel like I if I don't go get another piece, I don't have a chance at winning. I do think I have a chance at winning,
It's good.
but it's more that like I'm starting to see acquirable assets being harder and harder to acquire.
Sure.
And because I am one of the top two teams, those draft picks that I have are less become less valuable because people expect me to be one of the top, two, three teams. And the more pieces that get shuffled around, and I feel like I just keep missing things. Like I I was I was trying to get Jonathan Taylor and was not able to ever really get a hold of Ethan or have constant contact with Ethan. And
You're
then he
not
gets
alone.
traded, and then he gets traded to Tyler. Had I realized Caleb was interested in selling Saquon, I would have been in on trying to acquire Saquon. I just missed out on getting Bijan. Like, there's just I tried all offseason to get JSN from Ethan, and he finally just told me he wasn't available. So I just feel like, and especially Ethan's kind of one of those teams that I feel like has pieces that I would like, but now Ethan's 3-1. He's not selling any competitive
Right.
pieces. And so it's more of like I'm worried that the pieces that I want to acquire are getting harder and harder to acquire, or the people that I want to work with aren't going to want to work with because they feel like they can compete and they don't want to get rid of assets for the future.
You
Sure. And
need
all
you
that
need
makes
an
sense.
you need an uncompetitive team that's willing to trade. So that just screams Tyler to me, right?
Yeah, but like Tyler and I
My
have had a lot
God.
of, and I think Tyler, I agree. I 100% agree with you. And Tyler has multiple pieces that I would love to acquire, but Tyler and I just do not ever, hardly ever, see eye to eye on value. Especially after the trade to not be named. It's hard to make big moves because I don't want to spend what he wants, kind of a thing.
Sure. Well, that's always the catch with every trade is you have someone, you have a price you're willing to go to. They need you to go, 5% higher than that price, 10% higher than that price. And that's the dance. But Matt, you've mentioned a couple of times, you're worried about that next piece. But I'm flipping through your roster. And again, I see a little bit of what you see. I see a little bit of the like, hey, this is really, really good for this year, but like a couple of injuries and like Kyron Williams snap share or Lamar injury or blah, blah, blah. And you might be in a more precarious situation than a lot of people think you're in. And then I flip to your bench, and I think that fear might be a little bit exaggerated even from what I originally stated it at. Uh, right now, the worst starter that you have out there are Khalil Shakir and Jerry Judy, who are by no means terrible assets. On your bench is also Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans, RJ Harvey, DeAndre Hopkins, Terry McLaurin, and then Joe Mixon on IR. That's six guys that would probably be my best bench player. So there's also a level of this where it's like, hey, are we maybe concerned about a problem that might not be there?
Well, so I get that, and my strategy in fantasy, like I think it differs a little bit from your strategy in fantasy because
Sure.
I know you talk all the time about consolidating assets,
Yeah.
and you have you have stars, and then you got some duds. And if you have a situation where Jalen Warren is all of a sudden out, you may have to start Ray Davis. Like for me, I love depth. It's been my big thing. In the more I play Dynasty, the more that's the strategy that I want to implement is having as much depth as possible. I think it's because I've been bitten by the injury bug. I mean, I don't know too many other teams that could have traded for CMC and then played an entire year and been one of the best teams before the postseason. Without him. So that's where I'm always at. But now the more I look at my roster, I just want one more star. One more star to
Sure.
go with that depth. Um and I would feel really confident in the roster with just one more star piece.
Sure. Well, I think that's where our philosophy, I think the three of us on this call right now, really have three different roster building philosophies. Mac is all about value. If he sees the value in the trade that is in front of him, it doesn't necessarily matter if it fits his roster perfectly or if it's exactly what would be advised for the long term or the short term. Like if he feels like he is winning the pure assets of the trade, he's going to go for that. It sounds to me, and you can speak on this, of course, you're a little bit more in the camp of like, I need that depth. I need like the starting talent, but I also need that depth, and I want this many guys off the bench, and blah, blah, blah. I have been in the extreme opposite end of this where I'm like, I'm speaking to kind of the thing you started the pod talking about, where it's like, look at what people paid for Saquon. Look at what people should have paid for Bijan. Look at what people paid with Evans' trade that went to Caleb. And it's like, that's more of what I'm seeing of like you just need an insane amount to get 4 points per game better.
Yeah.
And so going and getting those star players is so expensive. I'm going to hoard those when I can, and hopefully like a Kyron Williams or Woody Marks popping off this last week for me is going to eventually backfill that depth in a way where it's like, okay, well now John has four guys he can go to on his bench purely because like those third, fourth, and fifth round picks, he has one workout a year, one good waiver wire pick of a year, and all of a sudden like the star power's there, but also the bench came along just by law of averages.
And I feel like I've been really lucky too with some of the things that have bounced my way. I mean, I got Puka in the fourth. Like if I
Yeah.
don't go and get Puka, um, Evan just decided that he wanted to sell Lamar. And Lamar has been up until this last week the epitome of health, where
Mm-hmm.
earlier in his career he wasn't. I used some of the capital I got trading Drake London and Malik Neighbors to go and get um, Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin. Terry has a career year and Mike stays consistent. Brock Bowers is what we thought he was, at least last year, and a little to start this year. He's been a little banged up a bit. So I feel like I've been lucky in some ways. I've obviously been unlucky in some ways. Traylon Burks didn't work out. Um, but I feel like a little of that is luck, but I feel like because I've invested in sprinkling a bit here, pun intended, sprinkling a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, like I have more opportunity for those guys to pop.
Sure. Sure. Well, and Brock Bowers, definitely not the numbers he was putting up last year. But if you had to guess where he was in the tight end rankings right now, where would you guess he is?
Oh, he's probably still top five.
He's tight end number 9, but
Okay, okay.
he's had 3 weeks under 10 points. And
Yeah, I
he's
knew
tight end nine.
He's been right about like 8 to 9. It's 15 week one and like 8 to 9 every week. Then so still top 10 wide or tight end, but
Sure.
that's not what like I expect him to be. I want him to be one or two.
Yeah.
Matt, it's interesting you hearing you talk about your philosophy regarding building a team, and I know we used to. I mean, it's kind of gone away now, but a few years ago, I don't know, what was it, 3 years ago, three off seasons ago, you notoriously basically tore it down, right? When everyone felt that you had, a close to top tier roster, you tore it down, you rebuilt. I think we were bad 1 year and you're back stronger than you ever were. Obviously, I know you're probably pretty pleased with the end result. Um, and I know over the years you've always defended those moves. If you were to go back knowing what you know now as a dynasty, fantasy manager, would you have handled that rebuild any differently, or do you think it'd go exactly the same way?
I would handle it differently. I'm glad I went through the rebuild. Having gone through one, I don't want to ever do what I did again. I don't want to ever break it down to the nubs and try to build back up. Although it has been it was incredibly fun to do so. But it was, I don't want to do it again. Um, I would not sell Cook and Kelsey for what I sold them for. Obviously, that's the big trade I think that everyone generally thinks about is I kind of just sold them um at too low of a price. But for the other guys, I think what Saquon, Cooper Cup, um, and Keenan Allen went to you, John, for like three first, right?
Or
Four first. So that I thought that trade was fantastic. And if I don't do that trade, I'm probably not in the way in the situation I am now. But the trade prior with Tyler is the one that I look back and regret. But the results, like Cook fell off pretty quick.
Yep.
And Kelsey had one other good season, and then he's kind of fallen off. Cooper Cup got hurt the next year. I mean, Saquon took leaving New York to finally do what he did. I don't think
mhm.
anyone could have predicted that back when I made the trade. So, like, hindsight's 2020. It was a good idea, but I probably could have got more value.
Sure. Well, and I mean, if we're going to play everything in hindsight, a lot of these trades don't happen. A lot of
Yeah,
these trades look ridiculous if you go
yeah.
back and say, 4 years later, 5 years later, what does this look like? So I want to give you a little bit of grace. And that brings us to the trade that shall not be named Malik Neighbors and Drake London for Christian McCaffrey.
First.
And
If you could go back,
two first,
Two
if
firsts. Two firsts. I
two
always forget.
first,
Two firsts.
two firsts.
if you could go back in time, let's say, and go to Mac and say, I have to trade you Malik Neighbors. I have to trade you Drake London. I have to attach these two first. What is a return package that you think would be worth that?
Oh, Matt got two firsts, by the way.
I got two first.
Matt got two first.
I gave up
Okay.
Neighbors, and I know I'll never forget the trade. I gave up Neighbors and London and Jalen Warren, which is a forgotten about
Hmm.
piece of this.
Uh,
For
Benefiting now.
CMC two firsts, and I think I got it's the third. There's a third or something in there that I don't fully remember.
There's
But
another pick, but you got Hollywood Brown too.
oh yeah, and I got Hollywood.
Okay.
Um,
So let's take that package that you sent out the Malik
yes.
Neighbors, Jalen Warren, Drake London. What do you need back now in hindsight? Let's say Malik Neighbors is healthy. In hindsight, what do you need back for that trade to be worth it?
Oh, um, I probably would have gone. I probably I would have sent that package to. I can't even say Adrian because I would want more than Bijan,
Mm-hmm.
and he I would want more than even like Bijan and Worthy.
So
Um,
like kind of like the everyone relevant on Adrian's roster kind of thing of like you'd
yeah,
want
maybe.
Judkins and Worthy and McBride and Bijan and all of that in exchange for that.
Yeah, maybe Judkins, Worthy, Bijan. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Just
That's
because,
fair.
here's where my mind was when I made the trade. Because Mac, it took us what, 3 days?
It was a lot of. It was a lot. Yeah.
And I asked people that weren't in the league, I asked people that were in the league, their thoughts, their opinions, just pure fantasy aspect of it. Obviously, Drake London hadn't had the season he had. The burned by Malik Neighbors, or not, sorry, burned by Traylon Burks was in my mind. Other like early round wide receivers that hadn't necessarily turned out. Like obviously thought like what the ceiling is Jamar Chase and the floor is Traylon Burks.
Mm.
Yeah. Quentin
And
Johnston. I mean, yeah.
I had that in my mind, and CMC had played two healthy seasons with the 49ers, getting the first round picks, and I knew acquiring those first exactly what I was going to do with at least one of them. Um, because Adrian and I had had conversations prior to the CMC trade. So I mean, hindsight's 2020. Obviously, I played a year without. I still do that trade, I think.
Okay.
I think I still do the
Yeah.
trade.
Of course, again, hindsight being the key factor in that. But okay, enough about the trade you made with Mac. Matt, I don't know if you're as aware of this as I am. You and I have a lot of trades that almost happened that would have aged like sour milk for one of us. I don't
I
know
feel
if
like
you're aware of this.
I probably have that with a lot of people, to be honest. Like we should all sit down and do like a ODL what if and see.
It's a complicated web quickly,
Yeah.
clearly, but I don't know if anyone's ever gone back and just sifted through the trade history, but like it gets gross quick. But I pulled up a few of the trades that we have almost made over the years. There's three
Okay.
trades we almost made that would have ruined one of us immediately. First off, last year, you almost traded me J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and Traylon Burks for the pick that became Malachi Corley.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not very good.
That would have saved my team, and
Hmm.
it would have taken out a current starter that you have right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, the next one I see is you offered me picks 2 and 5 in exchange for or you offered me picks 2, 5, and Anthony Richardson in exchange for Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
So obviously losing Jamar would have hurt, but picks 2 and 5 for me going back in time would have ended up being Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas,
Yeah.
which would have absolutely changed the face of the league. And the last one I have is I offered you Joe Burrow and 2 second-round picks for Anthony Richardson across the board. And your response is, I'm interested in Kyron Williams.
Yeah, I was gonna if you didn't bring that up. So funny that you mentioned this, John, because this is one of the talking points I had in my head when I was thinking about being on the show. Um, that might be my biggest regret in not accepting
Yeah,
because
that's tough looking back at it.
2 seconds and Joe Burrow for a guy that I literally just cut, like that's a big miss on my part.
And if we keep going back and looking at it, they get funnier and funnier as you go. I think there was a trade at one point where we had like 2 second-round picks for Marvin Jones. Uh, we almost traded for Fryermuth like 8 times.
Do you remember? So right after the draft, I reached out to you about you had drafted, I think it was Diggs
Okay,
at the very beginning, our startup draft. We barely knew each other, and I was interested in Diggs, and I was also trying to get Justin Jefferson, and you never texted me back, and then you made a trade with Caleb, and I was like, obviously what it turned into is devastation, but
sure.
yeah.
No extra point to that. Just remember this
No, that
awful
was
trade
like
you made.
that was it. Like
That's
you
what
I
you
think
get for
you never
picking Caleb
texted
over
me
me.
back. What was
Oh
that, Matt?
man,
That's what he gets for picking Caleb over me in trade
Yeah,
talks.
yeah.
It's
it
Like
karma.
was
you
so
just never
bad.
texted me back. It hurt me because you never texted me back.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That was a really complicated time in my life. But yeah, that was obviously, before you got roasted for all the like more recent ODL trades that you've made, the original someone doesn't know how to manage a roster was me trading Stephon Diggs for Cortland Sutton and Travis Kelsey and Justin Jefferson for DK Metcalf in a first. Now, if you follow the trail of those trades, they really, really end up working out for me. But at the time, it was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a moron. And frankly, I deserved it. I deserved some of those on the chin. But yeah, it is fun. For the listeners, if you ever have a chance, go back and look through some of the offers you've sent years ago to some of the people you don't text very often. And you will find very quickly you offered and were offered some garbage and gold, and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think about the Joe Burrow and Anthony Richardson trade often as
That, yeah,
a missed opportunity for myself.
would have ruined me.
Matt, we were talking about the old days and the original draft. Do either of you, this is a question for John as well. Do either of you guys, are you aware of any players on your current roster that you drafted in the inaugural ODL draft?
I haven't had a player from my original draft on my roster in years.
Years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's actually kind of crazy. I mean, you draft 20 people and you think about them, oh, like in 6 years, this guy might be like retired, or in 6 years, this guy will be 31, and then like it's I don't know, everything changes.
Yeah, I remember the first pick I ever made in ODL was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I thought I had solved the situation. I drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Josh Jacobs, and like no rookies until Caleb or Tyler started taking like Jerry Jeudy and CD Lamb and like all these first round picks off the board. And I was like, I don't believe in this guy in any capacity, but I'm just going to go grab Justin Jefferson so I have a first round rookie. And that's why I was so quick to trade him because I was like, I just got to get someone.
I went and looked. I have two. Do you guys want to try to guess who they are?
It's not Josh Jacobs. Um, I'm gonna guess. Oh, let me look. Let me pull up your roster. Matt, you got any guess?
I'd have to look at his roster.
Okay, for the listeners at home, Mac's roster is Josh Allen, Brees Hall, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Debo Samuel, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Strange, Marvin Mims, Tony Pollard, Calvin Austin. Oh boy, Jack Beck, Isaiah Davis, Demario Douglas, Dallas Goddard, Isaac Garindo, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Drake London, Jordan Love, Malik Neighbors, Dylan Sampson, Miles Sanders, JT Sanders, Xavier Scott, Tyquan Thornton, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle.
Josh Allen and Alvin Kamara.
I think
Got one
Alvin
of them.
Kamara is one for sure. I think
Is Josh Jacobs the other one?
No, Jacobs I got from Caleb for Mike Williams and something else. And Kamara I got from Tyler for Sutton and Madison, and like a couple picks like that got exchanged.
Okay, I'm gonna guess Kittle then. If Josh Allen's the first, I think Kittle's the second.
It is Kittle. It is Kittle.
Okay.
All right, so I pulled my inaugural roster up. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, Cam Akers, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Will Fuller, Evan Ingram, Melvin Gordon, Zach Moss, Odell, Todd Gurley, McCole Hardman, Sony Michel, Jalen Rager, Darrell Henderson, Anthony Miller, Josh Reynolds, Jordan Love, Darnell Mooney, Tim Patrick, Nelson Aguilar, John Brown, Cole Beasley, Greg Ward.
Oh.
Some of those guys aren't even in the league anymore.
Yeah, a lot of those.
A lot of those guys are not in the league anymore.
Receiver for the
Cleveland
Eagles.
Oh, Eagles. Oh boy.
Yeah, he was the guy that had like that 4 touchdown game super randomly at the beginning of Jalen Hurts into Carson Wentz, and then no one ever heard from him again. Yeah, man, I don't even want to go back and look at my inaugural draft. It was probably a lot of guys who panned out really well, and I just panicked. But yeah. All right, Matt, we don't have too much time left here. Anything you want to say to our viewing audience?
Oh man, man, put me on the spot. Listen. I love the Office Dynasty League. It has changed the way I think about fantasy football. It's the most fun I have playing fantasy right now, and we've had like several of us had conversations like how much longer does it last, or who stays and who might leave, and I hope it never ends. I hope we figure out a way to like keep it for like as long as we possibly can. That all being said, I really want my first playoff win this year. Screw the rest of you guys.
Brother.
And I just want to. I know you've asked a lot of people like what is success to you, and I want to say winning the whole thing, but just a playoff win, to be honest. Like, please, I just want to win a playoff game.
Well, that was the next question, but yeah, maybe this year you and I can play each other in the playoffs, and one of us will
Yeah.
have to win a playoff game.
I would say maybe Tyler and I could play, but I don't think he's going to make the playoffs. So
Woof.
I don't not, you know,
This podcast has absolutely turned into make fun of
I
Tyler
had to
every
get
chance
that
we
jab.
get.
I had to get that jab. Yeah, but,
Tyler, we love you. It's not going to stop.
so,
I was going to say he could come on the pod to defend himself, but he already did, and we kind of roasted him when he was here.
yeah. Yeah.
I got to jump in here real quick. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I lied. I actually have 4 original players,
Wow.
which
Who
is
else you got?
crazy.
That's crazy.
Um, Goddard was an original drafted
Okay.
person, and Tony Pollard.
There we go.
Wow.
So, and there's a bunch of names. I haven't even heard of a couple of these guys. I don't even know who this is. Chad Hansen. Do you know who that is?
You know, the funniest part is you probably thought you were like thrifting everyone. You knew.
Oh, he had 100 yards and a touchdown, or he had 100 yards against the Colts in Week 13, and I think I added him after that.
Yeah, that's
There we go.
good.
So, all right, Matt, last question for you before we have to say goodbye. If things continue to swing against you, you know, a few more injuries, a few more declines, whatever it may be, is there someone in the league that you're like, man, if I just go get this guy, I think I can right the ship?
I don't have a specific. There's several players. I don't have a specific player, um, but I think that my hope, and unfortunate that it's got to be with this owner, but my hope is that Tyler keeps losing and gets to the deadline and wants to sell. Um, I think he has the most talent outside of, with the least amount of at least chance in my mind to make the playoffs, especially now 1-3. So my hope is there, but there's several guys that I think I could go. I would want to go and inquire to beef up my roster. So
Sure. All right. Well, there is Matt Jordan. Best of luck this season, Matt.
thank you, John. Best of luck to you too. I hope Browning figures it out with Jamar at some point, and CD returns, and
Can't get worse.
yeah. So, Mac, I wish you no luck at all.
Appreciate it. Means I know I'm doing things right.
You've won enough already. Let's
Go get a playoff win, Matt. I want to see it.
I hope so. Oh, I hope so.
All right. Thank you, Matt Jordan. Special thanks to Matt Jordan for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you guys. Like, genuinely, it's fun to have you guys talking on here on the history of the ODL and how we feel about our teams now. But talking about the history of ODL, I think you're not going to be able to tell the story of us without talking about this Bijan trade that just happened.
Bijan 2025.
Bijan 2025 is one of the most interesting things between the group chat, the side chats, the actual trade itself. One of the single most interesting things that's ever happened in this league. And it all started with this podcast. So, Mac, what are your thoughts on the Bijan trade? And just so that everyone is up to date on what happened, Adrian traded Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier in exchange for my John Yaney's 2026 first round pick, I believe Evan David's 2026 first round pick. Was it a second or a third?
I believe it was a third.
A third, and then Matthew Golden.
It was a second.
Two first, a second, and Matthew Golden for Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, the Falcons' backfield. Mac, what are your thoughts on that trade?
All right, so a lot of my thoughts depends on whether I know or do not know whether if Adrian's going to be listening. Can you guarantee that he will not be listening to this?
I can't guarantee that, but I'm close to.
Oh, I kid. I mean, I'm not going to be very different from what the general consensus is. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. I think from what we'd heard from Evan when we recorded with Evan last week, what his offer on the table was versus what trade actually happened. is a little bit upsetting, a little bit frustrating. I think Evan on the to us after the episode told us that it was going to be three firsts and golden for just Bijan, correct?
Yeah, no Algier and three firsts.
Yeah, and I believe one of those firsts was Evans, which was a key, a key piece of the trade because I don't know if Evan was tracking to be very good at the time. I think he'd already made the big trade.
Hmm.
So, a lot of his talent was out the door and he's, 1 and 2. But yeah, I was a little disappointed. I really wanted the opportunity to try to outbid whatever the offer was and Adrian decided to go different directions. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, full disclosure, like we've heard the offers. We're not going to put them out there into the ether because I think Adrian has gotten his lumps for this trade already. In my opinion, the trade that Adrian ended up taking was probably the fourth or fifth best one that was on the table. And I don't want to criticize him too harshly here because, like, regardless of if he took the best trade, he still did something that was smart for his roster, which is move an asset that had absolutely no value
He
to
did.
when he would be relevant, and move that in exchange for pieces that would make him relevant. I still think that it was the right decision to move Bijan.
I think he got positive value, even though it may not have been the best value. I
But
mean, I guess he got a
that's the
positive return.
point.
Yeah.
That's the point. We all roast the Matt trade from years ago where he trades, Travis Kelce and Dalvin Cook and all this stuff. And even though it helped him rebuild and get to back where he was supposed to be, and that like clearly, even at the time, like this is going to help you rebuild. It was like if you had just taken 2 seconds to shop these guys, you'd have gotten better value. Adrian took a full week to shop these guys and somehow got worse value than most people were offering him off the rip. And I'm just so confused on how that happened. Um, and again, I don't want this podcast to turn into me just making fun of Adrian, but I just don't understand this one.
You know what? I will say Adrian wanted Matthew Golden and he went and got his guy. So, I don't
Can't argue with that.
I mean he wanted his guy and he got him. And I will say too, the first involved in this trade is your first, John, which I think when that trade was made, I thought, oh man, John's first. Probably a lock to be, mid to back end. But if things go south here, that could not that yeah, that could be better than we thought.
We'll see. These next few weeks look rough for me, especially with CD out and with Browning playing at what is arguably the worst quarterback play we've seen in years, which is hard to do in today's NFL. It's hard to be worse than Anthony Richardson was last year, and Jake Browning is genuinely worse than Anthony Richardson was last year by the numbers. But we'll see. I mean, if like my first is a lottery pick, and he ends up with two lottery picks as a result, this is going to look very different in retrospect. And there is a somewhat decent chance that one of me or Evan is in the lottery. I don't think the odds of both of us making the playoffs are maybe slim, but I just don't. Still, just don't
Well,
love it.
he got it over with. So
You
I guess
got it
that's a
over
win.
with. Pulled that band-aid off. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into our picks for this next week.
Yeah, let's do it. You want to lead us off, or
We
I guess? Oh, go ahead.
well, recapping from last week, the only difference that we had was Caleb versus Ethan. You took Caleb, I took Ethan. I won that coin toss.
You did win the coin toss.
So I am back up a game. This week going into the matchups, let me get this pulled up real quick. We want to give you guys a quick layout on what the power or what the projections say is going to happen. Looking at week 5, we've got Ethan versus me. Right now, it projects Ethan as a 10-point favorite. We've got Tyler versus Will. It's got Will as a 10-point favorite. We've got Mac versus Matt. It has Matt as a 9-point favorite. Dallas versus Adrian. Oh, boy. It has Adrian as a 5-point favorite, but neither team breaking 100. Just for reference, every other team has broken 120 so far. And Caleb versus Evan, with Caleb as a 20-point favorite. Mac, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some tough matchups this week. Man, okay, I'm gonna go with Matt over me. I've got London and Jacobs on bye. And obviously Neighbors is out. So definitely a thinner week for me. So I'm gonna go with Matt. Even with Lamar out, I think Drake May against Buffalo could have a lot of volume. So I'm gonna go Matt over me. I'm gonna go Tyler over Will. I think Tyler gets a win here. It looks like Jaden Daniels is gonna be back. Um, that's a tough one. But I think Tyler's gonna get one. He's due. Um, I'm gonna go Ethan over John. Sorry, John.
Rough.
His team's just rolling right now, and yeah, you could have a good week. I mean, Detroit, maybe Bengals get back on track against Detroit. That they kind of have to if they're going to be competitive. But yeah, let's go Ethan. Um, and then I'm gonna go Dallas over Adrian. Maybe out of spite. I don't know. I just I think Dallas's team is better. Also, Adrian's got a couple guys starting on bye, and I don't really know who he's gonna even replace them with. I mean,
Are you 100% confident they won't still be in his starting roster on
I
Sunday?
mean they might be. It wouldn't shock me. But even if he does, they're not much better than just leaving him wherever the. It's not good. It's grim. So yeah, I'll go Dallas over Adrian. Um, and then I do like Caleb to bounce back this week and beat Evan.
Okay. I think I've got a couple of different picks than you.
Yeah, these are tough.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Ethan over me. I just like it, the combination of injury and bye week is just brutal for me this week. I'm gonna go with Will over Tyler. I think Will's team is also rolling right now, and he made a win now trade. I'm gonna stick with that. I also think this is the week where if Tyler loses, he sells. Um, I'm gonna go with Matt over you as well. I'm going to go with Dallas over Adrian. I also agree that's a tough lineup without after the Bijan trade. And then I'm going to go with Caleb over Evan and a pretty non-dramatic win. Let's put it that way. So those are our picks this week.
We only differ on one, right?
Do we really?
We only differ on.
Tyler will.
I picked Tyler.
Yeah, I picked Will. All right. I misspoke. I think I was thinking about taking myself over Ethan, just like, I'm going to win. I'm going to show everyone I'm not going to win. But we'll see how it plays out. Maybe Trey Tucker has 4 touchdowns again. But Mac, you have anything else for the viewing audience?
No, just excited to be able to do this and excited to be a part of this league and excited to make it 8-1 against Matt this week, even though I totally just predicted he'd beat me.
All right. As always, viewing audience, thank you for listening and let the best man win.